In this video, I'm going to show you the exact steps that I took to take my animated army precon into a deck that I was on the fence about to a deck I absolutely can't wait to play. Now, there's loads of precons out there with loads of different playstyles, and there's loads of people out there with loads of different playstyles. So the chances that you are going to buy a precon one day and not really gel with how the face commander is wanting to play is quite likely, and it's really important that you don't get down about this and just, you know, pick your deck up and throw it in the bin. Because it's fine, because the good thing is most precons are designed in a way that there is multiple avenues for you to take them. Okay, they're not optimized right out the box. So guys, what do you do if you buy a precon and after a few games there's just no desire to pick that deck up and keep playing it? You'd rather play the deck that you built ages ago that you've played a million times. Okay, not good. Well, I'm going to show you the exact steps that I took in order to tackle this situation, and it gets better because I did this for under $10. What? $10? Jack, how did you do it? So why did I choose to do this for under $10? Well, because you've just laid out $40 on a precon. So the last thing you want to do is spend another $40 trying to fix it. So I decided to set myself the challenge of trying to edit this precon for under $10. So every single card that I chose is under $1, and we've taken 10 cards out and put 10 cards in an attempt to completely change the identity of this deck. Now, I really want to get into the meat and potatoes of this video, but before we do, guys, I just got a little request for you. If you do enjoy this video, then please, I request that you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, okay? It really does a lot to support the channel, and you'll make my day. So, you know, why not just click it? You know, just click it. Click it now. Okay, guys, let's get into this deck overhaul. Okay, so let's start things off by talking about what brought me to this situation. So I bought my animated army precon deck, couldn't wait to bust out and play some games with it. After a few games, I realized this deck is good. Like, it's very well built out the box. But the problem was that I just didn't have that much desire to keep playing it. After each playthrough, I was just like, you know, just swinging my indestructible haste artifacts at face was just getting a bit boring. It was good, it works. I'm not saying it's not good. It's just it wasn't that enjoyable for me, and I couldn't help but notice how cool Wildseer looks. I mean, this guy, if you don't know, was literally on the front of all of the Bloomborough, the first reveal footage we got with the animation trailer, the big fiery wolf that the mouse was fighting. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, like, I hope that is like a Calamity Beast that gets a card, because I would absolutely love that, like a wolf of just fire, like, so cool. And then I realized that this is that very wolf, and when I was playing in the games, I couldn't, every time I get him out, I'd realize that I was enjoying him and his abilities more than Bello with the cascade, the madness, the craziness, the wildfire aspect. So flavorful as well. I absolutely love it. So I said to myself, you know what? I want to build this deck around Wildseer, the backup commander. Let's put Bello on the back burner for now, and let's see what we can do with Wildseer. Now, I don't suggest that you just take your backup commander and use that right out the box. Most of the time, I think it does work in some decks, but most of the time your deck is more optimized towards the main face commander, so it's going to take some little alterations to get the deck working with the backup commander, but it's nice that they give you the option there and that you don't need to change too many cards, which you're going to see today. So what things do we need to consider? Bello involves around enchantments and artifacts. Wildseer does not give a shit about artifacts. It only cares about enchantments. So just to look at this card, Wildseer is a 6/6 trampler, and it gives all your enchantments cascade. So when you cast an enchantment, you reveal top cards of your library until you reveal something with equal to or less. Oh no, it has to cost less. Shows how much I know about my own cards. It has to cost less, and then you get to cast it for free. So it's crazy. Like, the madness side of it is like, just, you don't know what you're going to get. It's really, really fun. Now, the issue here is that the deck only came with 13 enchantments, so you're not really going to be doing much cascading if you don't make any alterations and you just put Wildseer in your command zone. So My goal of this was to do a straight swap, 10 artifacts out and 10 enchantments in, putting us up to 23 enchantments, which sounded good to me. Now, as I've said, I also wanted to do this around the lowest budget possible, so again, no cards for more than $1. Now, some other things that we need to consider is that this deck only has 21 creatures in it, and that is because Bello turns your enchantments and your artifacts into creatures, so you don't need to run as many creatures. So I believe it was only running, I believe, 21 creatures, which is just a no-no. A quick Google search will tell you that most commander decks, you want to have at least 25 creatures. That can go up to around 30 if you have a creature-based deck, and as low as 20 if you're doing like or 20 or 15 or 10 if you're doing like more spell slingy like decks, but standard decks 25. So I wanted to get my creature count to at least that number. Obviously, we want to fill the deck with enchantments so we can just keep proccing Wild Seer's ability as much as possible. Our deck was also built around a free cost commander, which means there was not many free drops in this deck at all. So I really wanted to make sure that I was bolstering up the amount of free drops in the deck. Flavor is a huge thing for me, almost more important than actual like if a card is good or not. So I really wanted to make sure that I was putting in cards that felt like they belonged with a Calamity Beast that was the embodiment of wildfire. So I wanted a lot of these cards to have flame or fire or, you know, and like burny kind of themes. That was what I needed. Now, because I've chosen to take out a lot of the artifacts in this deck, it means that we've lost a lot of ramp sources, so it's something to consider as well. So the first thing I did is load up Archidekt, and if you don't know, Archidekt is a really good online system for deck building. Highly recommend it. So the first thing I did was load it up, get Bloomberg Animated Army up, and then I took out 10 artifacts that I did not want. Now, some of these were definitely cards that I could have kept in, stuff like the Burnished Heart and the Mind Stone and stuff like that, which are just kind of like commander staples. But I really just wanted to, I like the idea of just 10 artifacts out and 10 enchantments in to just really bolster up the identity of the deck. Now, it's going to be too long for me to go through each of these, but I will put it up on the screen now and show you all the artifacts that I decided to take out. The next step was to go onto Scryfall and start looking for cards. Now, again, if you don't know, Scryfall is a really good online system for it's like an online card database with loads of good filters, so it really helps you find the cards you need for your deck. So we wanted enchantments, but first things first, I wanted to look at enchantment creatures because these were a great way to bolster my creature count while also putting some enchantments in there as well, because enchantment creatures will still proc Wild Seer's ability. So I went to the filter tab, I went commander, green and red, so it only shows me cards that will fit with a green-red commander, which is what ours is. Then I went down to the value tab and made sure it only showed me cards that were equal to or less than $1. Once I had these parameters put in, enchantment creature, the colors right, and the value, I clicked search and then went through all the cards and picked out cards that I thought could be cool and put them in my maybe board on Archidekt. Once I'd sorted out all my creatures, it was time to do the big one and go through all of the enchantments. Even though I filtered these to only enchantments less than $1, there was still so many to go through. It did take a while. In the end, I had just under 50 cards in my maybe board and I was only adding 10, so there was a lot of cutting to do. But before I did that, I needed to choose my creatures. Now, I narrowed it down to 5 enchantment creatures. Now, these creatures, 4 of them weren't actually really anything to do with the kind of fiery burny theme, but they were animals, so that they still fit in with the animal theme, which I really liked and was important to maintain as well. And a lot of them were just like good staples, which I thought would be really nice and add some consistency to the deck. And then one did contribute to our like pingy strategy that we were going for. Next was to go through all the enchantments and pick out just 5 enchantments. Now, I decided I would just lean into the fiery theme, so I just picked any enchantments that would ping my opponents for damage or amplify that damage whilst also having like a flamey theme, whether in the art or in the name or whatever. Once I'd made my deck, it was time to put this into practice and go onto Cardmarket and see if I could get all these cards for under $1. Now, I made my little wants list on Cardmarket and ran the shopping wizard. Now, the shopping wizard on Cardmarket has two options. It can show you the cards that are the cheapest, or it can try and group the cards together and sell from one seller to reduce the cost of the delivery. Which one is better for you will depend on, usually I would say, how expensive cards you are buying, because I did it before where I was buying like quite a few expensive cards, and it was definitely more beneficial to do the ones from the individual sellers. Now, I found a seller that was selling all the cards that I wanted, but unfortunately, I noticed that there was a card in there that was valued over £3, so for $5. And that was the Eidolon of Blossoms, and it was costing £3.44. I decided instead to add the Mogus Warhound, just because I really like the card's art, and it does buff as well. This brought my total to £5.93, or $7.49. Now, when I added VAT on top of this, it was £1.19, which added to a total of £7.12, or $8.99. So under $10. Now, I will say this right now. I don't think I've necessarily made this deck better, especially trying to do it at this low of a budget, but I do not care. I really am looking forward to using this deck and playing with a new identity of it being an enchantment based deck around a completely different commander. I feel like it's a brand new deck, and I cannot wait to play it now. And considering I've done this for under $10, it just shows that, you know, there's no excuse. If you don't like a deck, there is always options, and you don't have to break the bank. You don't need to fill it full of just crazy commander staples that are all overpriced. You can have fun with it, change the identity for a budget-friendly cost. And there you have it, guys. That is my step-by-step process on how I took the animated army precon and turned it into a wild seer, wildfire, enchantment based deck, just by taking in 10 cards out and putting 10 cards in, 10 artifacts out, and 10 enchantments in. Now, obviously, if there is so much potential for further change for this deck. If I was to further edit this more, I would replace every creature in this deck pretty much and make them an enchantment creature or an enchantment cares card. I would just go full ham on it. I could also just lean even more into the burn pingy sort of style, or I could, if I don't like that after these changes, I could then do my backup option and lean into like the sort of buffy style. There's just multiple ways that you can take this deck, and I'm now super excited to change it and edit it and continue playing with it, whereas before I was kind of just like, I don't really know, I had no desire really to edit it and add to that strategy because the strategy just wasn't that interesting to me. Now, if you like this video, I also have another video on how to build your own commander deck. So if you like this, then go check that video out. It's a little bit longer, but I think it's good content in there, and I know how overwhelming building your own deck can be. So I wanted to do a video where I literally showed you the whole process. So go give that a watch and let me know what you think. Right, guys, that's all from me today. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and we'll see you all again soon. Cheers.